Greetings everyone, Locke here, and it's time for part 3. Best practice from part 2, a short but powerful book called It Works. And if you're seeing this video for the first time, you may want to go back and start from part 1. Link is in the description and coming up on your screen right about now. Now, to start with, don't overcomplicate the system. Make a list. Read it morning, noon, and night. And think about your list as much as possible, without talking about it. That's it. And while you're doing this, you may start to wonder if it works. Is actually working. But it will so long as you stick with it. There are many methods to reality bending out in the wild. But the key to all of them is working the method as if your life depended on it. If you take nothing else from this video, remember that part. Whatever path of reality bending you choose to do it as if your life depended on it. And be ready for the unexpected. Whatever you think is going to happen, chances are it will look totally different from your expectations. Remember, this is a living hologram that moves and responds to you. So you can bend it and it will give. But that giving is a response to you. So your results will not only be what you want, but everything else that comes along with it. It doesn't mean that it's a more money, more problem scenario. You just need to remember the new version you're now living needs a new version of you to take the helm. Now, there are some points of interest and best practices we thought that you may want to keep in mind. And this is what Jason and a few others, who will remain unnamed, have found to work best in their experiences. And the first one we already mentioned, because it's the most important. You must work at your chosen method as if your life depends on it. Or as the old folks used to say, pray until something breaks. Too many people in this community are too busy running from book to book, video to video, instead of just picking a method and working it to death. How many Neville Goddard videos can you watch until it dawns upon you that he's saying the same cotton-picking thing every time? Come on folks, let's face it, most people in this community are just plain old afraid of failure. However, this is where we come in to tell you that yes, you will experience what you may first perceive as failure. But if you stay the course and stand on your goddamn square and refuse to take no for an answer, the living hologram will give. But it only gives to young gods in training. Young gods who are living as kings and priests of creation. Are you a king? Are you a priest? And if not, are you willing to learn to become one? It is your birthright after all. Now, the girls of old and new will tell you that you are already using it, because you're always using the thinking stuff to work with a living hologram. But here is where we disagree, and with all due respect to just Murphy and Neville, is the Hicks, and all the rest. But Jason applies positive law thinking here. And according to the law, those who do not know their rights have no rights. Sure, you can be a suppository for the universe if you want. Somebody has to take out the trash after all. But you do have options. And to exercise your options, you must pick where you want to go or who you want to be. Then the mental method of getting there. And once that's all done, work the method and keep working it. Next, write down your list once a night before bed. This is one of those little things that compounds to big results. Because over 50 years ago, researchers knew that prayer therapy worked. What they would do is have the person go to bed with one issue they wanted to work on. And all they would do is see the issue resolved as they went to sleep. And usually in a few weeks, it was taken care of. Writing your list down before bed is an abbreviated version of just that. Next on our list is almost as important as practicing as if your life depends on it. And that's because we're going to talk about the joy of shutting the hell up. We cannot overstress this point. Do not discuss with anyone what you are doing. This is such a bad idea that Jason is seriously considering doing a follow-up video on that topic alone. But, to put it plainly, when you share your plans with others, you are giving them permission to first give a go or no-go opinion on what you are doing. You're also allowing them to give or to take energy away from what you're working on. And given the current dark dystopian point of view, so popular in these degenerate times, are you sure you want that kind of exposure on your mental vision of grandeur? We say thanks, but no thanks, because even when they agree with you, there is still so much dark energy in the form of anger, resentment, hurt over past they won't let go of, and so much more mental and emotional garbage being carried around by people that our producer finds it more harmonious to work solo most of the time. You don't need anyone's approval or even their company. All you need is a good working relationship with your subconscious and unconscious minds, and you will find yourself around the right tribe. And you know what? The right company will respect your individuality, and sharing will be built on mutual respect and dignity. And you'll know that place when you get there. You won't be able to mistake it. The feeling will be so obvious. But until that day happens, keep your plans to yourself. This next tip is more on the technical side, but details are important. So, it's critical that you use statements in the past tense as if the thing you want has already happened. And we're almost sure you've heard something like this before. And that's cool too. We're not trying to recreate anything. The fact is, if you stress trying, you will keep on trying. If you stress someday, then someday will always remain far away. Even putting your mental vision in the now can be tricky, because now you are not, and don't have, and that contrast sets up immediate conflict. But when you put it in the immediate past as if it already happened, then it removes the conflict. How can there be conflict over what has already happened? Also, this moves you to the other side of the chessboard, because now, all your mental visions are from the place of already having and doing, and being. You can even have some fun and daydream in your spare time, because you are doing it from the point of already winning. This is a most advantageous position to be in. The next tip coming up is also a technical one, and that is you will do better to stick to far or fewer statements to begin with. The reason is it's easier to mold 4 statements into a micro story, with you being the star of the show. You could even draw out a circle, chop it up into 4 slices like a pizza, color each slice, and write a brief 1 or 2 word phrase on each slice to represent your statement. Now, throughout your day, visualize your personal color wheel. Let it slowly spin around in your mind, and as it slowly spins, see each word imprinted on each slice. This method works best if you draw and color the circle in yourself. That way, it is ingrained in your mind's eye. But even if you skip that exercise, our point is that it's easier to string 4 ideas together. It's easy to remember them like a haiku, and you will find that they just flow better in your mind. This doesn't mean that you should not write down a master list of all your wants. On the contrary, you absolutely should do that as soon as possible. What we're saying is, from that master list, only pull 4 at a time. Yes, you can rotate in a new item as soon as you reach one on your list of 4, but no more than 4. Now let's get back to our mindset. Recite your 4 statements to yourself whenever you're dealing with stress. Did something happen at work that pissed you all the way off? Well, you know these things happen and we're sure it's not the first or the last time. But how about we convert it to a nothing sandwich? First, recite your list to yourself. If you're really pissed, you may have a hard time recalling your list at first, but that's alright, it will come to you. Take some deep breaths, walk outside, or go to the bathroom, or go to get coffee. Just give yourself a minute or so to walk and breathe, and keep reciting your list. Then think to yourself, what is the advantage in this situation? You will get a reply, and from there your perspective will realign itself. This doesn't mean you turn into a happy bunny rabbit that farts flowers. No, you might still be pissed, but your understanding will improve, right along with your resolve. The funny thing is, little stress and adversity in the mix can be just a catalyst you need to keep your resource edge sharp. It's a natural movement to go from uncomfort to comfort. So don't be so quick to down the downers. Sometimes, you have to bend down a bit to make a big leap. And that also goes back to one of the laws of polarity, or Newton's 3rd law of motion. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. This next tip has to do with releasing built-up subtle energy. If you're using flashcards, notebooks, or whatever to write your statements down at night, make sure you are burning these items every so often. Yep, burn those puppies. Call it magical if you like, but this is also a chemical transmutation. Jason got this idea from a hemisync exercise called tuning. Without getting into the details of the exercise, the point was to release the stale built-up energy into the aether. Same principle applies here. By releasing the energy, you also let go of any lingering doubt or worry. And of course, you are starting a new pack of index cards, notebooks, and so on. And no, this does not apply to your master list. Your master list is a reference item, not a point of focus like the index cards of 4 are. Also, if you're using a notebook app on your phone, or something like Google Docs, just erase the current document and make another one. And yes, we know it's virtual, but so is your imagination. Get it? And now we have to talk about what we're doing with our free time. Because over 85% of everything in the mainstream is, while not garbage, is still not helpful. So we have to choose with caution. 1800 days to New Earth can only be realized when we turn away from the current world. And the only way we see that happening is by putting our focus on what we want for ourselves, our families and loved ones. Then after that, we add to our focus something bigger and yet personal and private all at the same time. When Jason shared this idea with one of the few people he masterminds with, her response was,
"It sounds like you want a new religion."
That brought up a few memories our producer was not expecting, along with a flash of a dream or two. But the mind will always connect points of interest that in no way means anything. But she knew his interest was piqued. She went on to say,
"The complications I see is first, how do you keep your new thing from becoming a cult? And secondly, how are you going to get people to buy into it without making your new thing into a political kind of cause or thingy in some way?"
They chopped it up for a while, and Jason is still meditating on this, but not to digress too far away from the topics of this video. Our point is for your reality to bend. These best practices are best used with the understanding that the better life you're reaching for is for a bigger reason. And yet that bigger reason is all about you. It's a contrary idea to the one where you dedicate all your energy to helping others. But believe it or not, it accomplishes the same goal, and with less friction. But in any event, using these tips in your use of the work system will help you hit the mark faster and with better results. So, in the mean and in between times, take damn good care of you. Lock out.